Broadcasting live from Xanarkand, ancient metropolis on the plain of Spira. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Wheeler.
Final Fantasy is all that I drink. I've got one drink today, and I'm at least half gay.
Yay! And Jacob.
I am also half gay.
Cha-cha-cha. I'm ruining the numbers. Today, we're talking about, you may have inferred, by Jacob, A, being here, and B, nearly vibrating through his chair with excitement, talking about Final Fantasy. I, too, am a big fan and very, very excited about Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering cards. Wheeler plays Magic.
I like the box art on the, when it's like white.
Yeah.
And it has just the name.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's kind of like a watercolor illustration on the box.
Yeah.
I played 9.
Oh.
I rented 9 from Blockbuster a lot.
Hell yeah.
And then saw that the main guy was just a Ragavan, like, print.
Yeah.
At least now, so far. And that was a little cool and upsetting.
One of the best Coca-Cola commercials.
Final Fantasy 9?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They drink Coca-Cola in Final Fantasy 9?
No. But there was a Coca-Cola commercial with Final Fantasy 9 characters in it.
Oh.
Before we get into talking about Final Fantasy previews, I want to remind everyone at home that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR is a great place to buy your card. Now, I would recommend pre-ordering Final Fantasy from it. They had it, and then it sold out. And then they added more, and then it sold out. And they're adding more as they get allocations, and then it keeps selling out. So do your best. I don't know. It's selling out everywhere. But they're a great place to buy other Magic cards that are maybe a little easier to find. Also, you can sell them your cards. So, once you open the Final Fantasy and go, great, now I've experienced joy, and now I can sell it. That'll be a great way to do it. Also, want to shout out to Dragon Shield. Use the code LRRMTG5 to get yourself a 5% discount off anything on their store. And, of course, everything that we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. We're recording this episode late because the preview panel, the big gangbusters opening preview, debut, whatever nonsense, happened at PAX East this past Saturday, and normally we record Tap Tap on Friday, so we held it until when we were next in the office. So we're recording on Monday. All the debut stuff has happened. We're going to look at a bunch of cards and talk about the thing. Did either of you by chance watch the preview panel?
I have been desperately trying not to spoil any of these cards for myself until I get my hands on packs. I pre-ordered for the first time in 20 years. I pre-ordered some Magic cards.
So you were part of the problem. No, that's okay. They have said that Final Fantasy, which has not released, is the best-selling Magic set ever.
Better than Nemesis?
Somehow better than Nemesis.
Surely not Prophecy, though, right?
That's a wild thing for them to announce. Also, since it's so expensive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the trailer, the panel, but you did say the word watched, so I can let you know that I did watch the Final Fantasy Spirits Within in theaters.
So did I.
When it came out, as well as Advent Children on YTV. like 15 to 18 years ago.
Bro, I respect that. Looking back at it now, Final Fantasy The Spirits Within is, to put it plainly, a bad movie.
Yeah.
But I did walk out of the theater and then turn around and go right back in again when we went to see it on opening day.
To ask for your money back? Or
no, to watch it a second time.
Watched it back to back?
Back to back, baby.
Yeah. Holy smokes. What are you, James with The Return of the King?
I think James was with me that day. I wasn't the only one.
For the first show, I did not turn around and go back and watch it a second time. But I do remember a few of you going back.
I think Jer did.
Yeah, I think it was Jer, maybe Morgan.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
These are names you may be aware of. Yeah. I've played a lot of the series, and it's really cool to see this. I appreciate also that it's a Universes Beyond that's also largely in the sort of high fantasy realm where I prefer Magic exists.
It could be a Magic set.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who are Final Fantasy players and may not be aware of this, the set and the Commander products and the starter thing and all the different, there's so many different various products as part of this release. They are looking at mainline numbered games 1 through 16, no side projects, no sequels of mainline games, which includes 10-2 and the baffling 13 sequels. So it's just 1 through 16, which is maybe an interesting choice, but they had to pick they had to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, Tactics is one that the sweatiest people I know always tell me that I should play.
It's a good one.
Is it good?
It is.
But is it featured in this?
No.
Okay, so that's going to make a lot of weebs really mad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to add myself to that list of sweaty people.
Okay.
You should play Tactics.
Okay.
It is my favorite Final Fantasy game. It is
Okay.
to me. It is in my god tier of games.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It was, I would say, it's probably in a similar vein to how 6 and 7 and Chrono Trigger were big in terms of introducing Western audiences to JRPGs. Final Fantasy Tactics is not unique necessarily in its gameplay style. There had been other tactical games like that, turn-based, grid-based movement games, but it was definitely one that formally introduced Western audiences to that genre, and it also happens to be just one of the best ones.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yep.
So
Yep.
they announced a bunch of different cards at the thing. There are, as a reminder, there's a set. There's a Magic the Gathering full draftable set. It's coming to Arena as itself. It's going to be on Arena. No Omen paths for this. There's a starter thing, a starter deck kit, I think, like battle kit or whatever it is, the 2 decks.
Like Assassin's Creed and Lord of the Rings.
And there are 4 commander decks, and each of the 4 commander decks is focused on a different mainline Final Fantasy game, those being 6, 7, 10, and 14. So there's a lot. If you're a fan of one of those games, which statistically most people are, you've got a lot of stuff to enjoy there. And we'll try to, as we go through this, we'll try to remind you which is which. Shorthand is the expansion symbol for the main set, which is code FIN at the bottom of the card, is it says it's FF in the Final Fantasy font and a crystal. And the commander set, the expansion symbol is Chocobo, and it's FIC, Final Fantasy Commander. So I don't know. Let's start looking at cards.
Yeah.
James, do you have anyone you want to show at us or throw at us? Or you want me to?
I know who Cloud is.
Ha ha.
Yeah. All right. Cloud, Midgar Mercenary. White for a 2/1 human soldier mercenary. See, soldier, that's very clever. When Cloud enters, search your library for an equipment, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle. As long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to Cloud triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
Neat.
So doubles triggers of Cloud or equipment for equipment that's attached to him because he's good at sword. And also does a little bit of stone forging when he enters.
As a treat.
I said that being soldier was very clever because soldier is an existing subtype in Magic the Gathering, as is mercenary. These are things that in the game Cloud also is. He is a mercenary and a former member of soldier. Or is he?
The thing that I'm most excited about, because I'm going to be seeing a lot of these cards for the first time, and one of the things that really, as I've gotten more and more into Magic as I've been here, is especially with the Universes Beyond stuff, is how well they marry the mechanics to add to the flavor of the card. It's not usually like, this is good enough. They really dig into the mechanics to find something that is good and flavorful and fits and makes sense and is on the same power level. Like the design is incredible. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. As a not to like draw a sort of dividing line between you and your various expertises that you're bringing to this particular episode, but Wheeler, in terms of Magic the Gathering, ignore everything Final Fantasy about this card.
Already did it.
Cool.
Already way ahead of you, brother.
This seems good.
Yeah, this card is pretty good. I appreciate that the second ability is designed in such a way to accommodate for equipment that, the equipment triggers, but also equipment that says equipped creature has, blank. And then obviously being a 2-mana creature that tutors up another card. Like it's effectively a 2-mana creature that draws a card, but the card that it draws is going to be, sword.
Yeah.
Or shield.
So yeah, all the swords, right? The famous, sword of whatever and whatever. Having all of those abilities go off a second time seems pretty frightening.
Yeah, this card's kind of funny because it comes into play, finds your skull clamp, and immediately dies. I'm not Magic judgy enough anymore to remember what the exact wording with state-based actions is going to involve. Like, am I drawing 4 cards off of Skull Clamp, or am I drawing 2? I'd have to also read Skull Clamp.
What's the text on Skull Clamp, James? If you could just throw... I know that this is not a Final Fantasy card, we hope, but just throw any recent printing of Skull Clamp up there.
I think the trigger is... on the clamp, yeah.
Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. So that, I feel like that would happen twice.
But Cloud says this ability only triggers as long as he's equipped. And he's dead.
Yeah.
And you can't be equipped when it's dead. Right? Like that's, I don't know. We're going to have an eager beaver in the comments section letting us know exactly how it works. But
I welcome it.
What I'm getting at is... that doesn't matter too much because who cares? It's Skull Clamp, right? Like, it's still like, oh, dang, my Skull Clamp's only one of the most broken cards of all time. One of the most broken cards of all time, and it did it twice. But it is funny that you have a Stoneforge Mystic that you can find Skull Clamp and immediately clamp. Or just you have I'm going to kill Cloud. I'm turning him into... I'm trying to pull references. I'm going to shove this guy into the Mako reactor. Is that?
That works.
I feel like a baby that has watched my parents like walk. So I'm starting to do it, and then I got a smile on my face as I'm like
this.
Yeah. Hey, you guys do this thing too, right?
That's what I feel like being here.
But it's also a card that you can Caracas. Like it's a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is for the lens of Canadian Highlander or Vintage Cube, which are that's kind of my realm. And then also as commander, it's like I don't know, an interesting equipment commander. You don't get to say that too often.
Yeah,
they're always the same thing. And even though I'm a bit of a poo-pooer on the design trend of like, hey, what if it's a Panharmonicon? It's like, great, that's awesome. Throw it on the pile with the other 50,000 Panharmonicons.
I think there was another card that got spoiled that also doubles triggers for something. I can't remember what.
It's very popular.
Yeah. I mean, if we're taking a look at Cloud, let's stay in Final Fantasy VII for a second. Let's take a look at Tifa as well. Why not? Because she's gonna kill people.
2-mana Tifa.
So there's a variety of arts spoiled for this. This one's my favorite.
Yeah, same.
1 and a green for a 1/2 human monk with trample and landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, double Tifa's power until end of turn. If you get multiple landfall triggers every turn, then obviously it goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 8, etc. And that's the flavorful win here is that Tifa's really good at punching.
Mm-hmm. But she's kicking in the art.
Yeah, I know.
Explain.
Well, she does both in the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, punches and kicks. Now, I don't know if this was their intent. I choose to interpret invoking the landfall mechanic here as when the Sector 7 plate falls, Tifa gets angry. That's my interpretation.
Yep. That's a good interpretation.
They're all technically eco-terrorists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when the land falls, I get angry.
Yeah, exactly.
That tracks.
Yeah.
She's a member of Avalanche.
Yeah. That's the name of the group. A group that I maintain only had 6 members.
Yep.
I enjoy the remake games. I've played both remake and rebirth. I have some narrative issues with some changes they made. Gameplay wise, very fun. Soundtracks are amazing.
Uh-huh.
I have some narrative complaints, but we'll get to that later.
Cloud looked
Not in this episode.
Cloud looked real good in that dress.
To be fair,
Yeah.
he did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card is messed up.
Yeah. We assume that there's got to be some kind of, even just like Evolving Wilds or something for like limited, because I do think that this is going to still do stuff in limited, even though it's much more of a constructed card, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, even just hitting a land drop if you have a pump spell, right? It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
I will...
Or equipment. There's a lot of equipment.
Yes. I'll put on my Magic the Gathering hat for this one. And this is my PSA for how to use this card properly.
Please do.
If you have a Tifa in play, and you have, let's say I've played a Tifa on turn 2, and I have a 3-mana pump spell that gives like +3/+3 or whatever. And my only card is and I have a land in hand. I have to play the land in order to play the pump spell. But a lot of players are just going to play the land and be like, landfall trigger. Oops. And then forget to pump spell with this landfall trigger on the stack. Mm-hmm. You want to often, if you need the land to cast your spell, you are often going to want to hold priority. Cast the spell with the landfall trigger on the stack to modify her power and toughness and then have it doubled. So, for instance, if I have a 3-mana spell that gives her +4 power, I'm going to play a land. The landfall trigger goes on the stack. I'm going to hold priority and use that new land in addition to the other 2 that I used to cast Tifa to give her +4 power. So she becomes a 5/2, and then that doubles to 10. If you have a fetch land, like Evolving Wilds, Fabled Passage, which is in standard, or one of the original kind of onslaught block fetches, the broken ones, you can do some wacky stuff. Like there are pump spells can be real cheap, and you get to do the hold priority trick, but twice. Mm-hmm. So like if you have a fetch land, you play the fetch land, her landfall triggers, you hold priority, you crack the fetch land, landfall triggers, then you hold priority and then pump her. Mm-hmm. So if I gave her +4, she becomes a 5-power creature. The second landfall trigger resolves first, that 5 turns to 10, and then the first landfall trigger resolves, and that 10 becomes 20.
And then you kill them.
And then they die. And there are ways to achieve that for 1 mana. A pump spell in 1 mana, meaning that you can use the rest of your mana to say no to players trying to kill your lovely wife.
When I was doing my Final Fantasy playthrough, Tifa was the main damage output with Death Blow, and you can do silly stuff. Let's actually, speaking of which, let's take a look at the Commander version of Tifa from the Commander decks. So again, this is Tifa from the main set, but there's also Tifa Martial Artist from the Commander product. 1 red, green, white, which several people have noticed are the colors of the Italian flags. I doubt that's intentional, but very funny.
Wait, is she supposed to be? Is she canonically Italian?
Nope, that's not that's not the reference people are
making. Okay, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So I don't think that was on purpose, but it'd be very funny if it was. Tifa's a 4/4 with melee, which is whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each opponent you attack that's combat. That ability makes sense. Now, this other ability Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If that's the first combat phase of your turn, there is an additional combat phase after this phase.
Whoa.
Because I'm just inferring. Tifa's limit break is you get a move, and then this is like her ultimate attack, essentially, for those who are unfamiliar. People in the other characters in the game have different ultimate attacks that you swap out as the game goes on. The way that Tifa's works is it's additive. So you get this attack, then also this one, then also this one. So it's like she just keeps going in and hitting them over and over again. So multiple combat phases.
Yeah, it's like a self-contained combo.
Yeah.
Because she's a fighter.
Yeah. And it means that if you attack all 3 of your opponents in a game of Commander, then Tifa herself becomes 7 power and makes that happen.
Yeah.
So does the first ability, if you get the second combat phase until end of turn, so that stacks.
Oh yeah. So then she'll be 10 power in the second combat. If you continue to attack all 3 players.
Yeah. And if you can if this is I'm winning the game and then I'm going to really win the game scenario.
Yeah.
But like the way that this is worded is such that if you hit multiple players, you get this trigger multiple times with things that are 7 power or greater.
If Tifa's there and you have 2 other creatures that also have 7 power and somehow all 3 of them connect, that ability triggers multiple times, so you actually get a series of additional combat phases.
Because it only cares if it's the first combat phase, you get additional combat phases after that.
Yeah.
So it says you're not going to get it on subsequent combat, but on this combat, it will all stack, basically.
So you could get up to
4
extra combats?
In a world where I hit all 3...
Somehow.
You get 3 additional combats.
Okay.
In a world where I'm able to hit 3 people with 7 power creatures, which is not that difficult, but also if you're doing that, do you really need to take 3 additional combat phases? I mean, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Pretty cool.
Yikes on bikes.
Was she a monk in the previous one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is she a monk?
I guess they went with monk because she does punch kick.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think it's based off of the D&D kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
fighter is with weapons and armor, monk is just fists and feet.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, to that end, could we see any of the equipment with a new ability, but very closely modeled on a previous ability of job select?
Now, this one I'm a little worried about.
Okay.
Because the Venn diagram... I don't know.
I'm trying to find an equipment.
I'm a little worried about this because obviously you're going to get a lot of new players playing this product.
Yeah.
But traditionally, Magic the Gathering players and Final Fantasy fanatics have been scared of jobs. Are they worried that this is going to push people away?
True. Fair. All right. Okay, here we go, James. Dragoon's Lance is one of them. So, as Gavin said in the debut panel, between Living Weapon, which makes 0/0s, and For Mirrodin, which makes 2/2s, Job Select is an equipment that creates a token when it enters. So, Dragoon's Lance is 1 and a white for an equipment. When it enters, you make a 1/1 colorless hero and attach this equipment to it. And then the equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is a knight in addition to its other types. During your turn, equipped creature has flying. And the equip cost is 4, and for whatever reason, they have added a flavor ability to the equip cost for this one, which is Gay Bolg. Yeah.
Which a harpoon, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know,
Yeah.
but...
I remember it was an old episode of Unskippable for, God, was it Lost Odyssey? Some weird mid-2000s Xbox JRPG, and they have a giant cannon that they call the Gay Bolg, and we were young and not expecting someone to, in his best like JRPG dubbing, to be like, prepare the gay bulg. And we were like, sorry, the what? And it was
I believe
that.
it's pronounced bulge.
Probably. I believe it. So anyway, all these equipment with job select, they make a colorless hero, and then they add an additional subtype to the creature. The other one they showed off is White Mage's Staff, also one in a white. So the same job select ability, and then the equipped creature gets +1/+1. Has whenever this creature attacks, you gain a life, and is a cleric in addition to its other types, and equips for 3.
Oh, that is so cool.
So I mean, Living Weapon was very cool.
Yeah.
For Mirrodin was fine. I liked it in its format. It wasn't quite as broad reaching.
It's pretty good. It's tough because Living Weapon had at least 2 sets and a decade plus of play, as well as back when Mirrodin Besieged and New Phyrexia were released. And Scars. I can't even remember if Scars had Living Weapon. I think it did, but the best ones came after, right? Like Mortar Pod and Batterskull are the big ones, and then Cauldron Complete being one of the more recent additions. Those cards are phenomenal, but also a lot of the surrounding pieces were either crap or Jace the Mind Sculptor. And so newer Magic, it's really tough to make a standout unless you're like super pushed. But like for what it's worth, Glimmerlens, a 4 Mirrodin artifact, is like a staple for Vintage Cube now, and Canadian Highlander and whatnot. And there are other living weapons that don't really get the flowers that they deserve. It's a little undercooked, this space, but like it is. Anytime a single card makes 2 cards and then does something else, and then also lets you give these attributes to another card down the line, that's pretty huge, right?
I appreciate the design space and just the functionality of an equipment that makes a creature and then immediately attaches it to the creature. It feels a lot better than just, I guess here's an equipment.
Yeah.
Go.
And the flavor is really cool because that's, you see the Final Fantasy 14 at the bottom, Gale Bolg, Excalibur, a bunch of the like best equipment in the game were named after real world, like mythical equipment in Final Fantasy.
I always found it funny in Final Fantasy 9 that Steiner's sword was the Excalibur 2.
Shout out to Steiner. God, I hope he gets a card.
I hope so too. I love Steiner so much. Hey Jacob, while we're talking about Final Fantasy 14, tell me about, I want to say, Y'shtola?
Y'shtola?
Yeah, we've got Y'shtola Rule here. 4 blue for a 3/5 cat druid. Which James, it's spelled Y''SH if you're frantically typing.
Oh right, 14's the one with the cats.
Yeah.
And the bunnies?
Yes, 14 has cats and bunnies, 11 just has cats.
At the beginning of your end step, exile target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. Then if it's the first end step of the turn, there's an additional end step.
Cool.
Whoa.
2 end steps.
Oh, that's so cool. This is this is the version of Y'shtola that was in Final Fantasy 14 before A Realm Reborn and for the first couple of expansions. So Realm Reborn and Heaven's Word. This is her as part of the Scions, where she was more of a white mage. She eventually becomes a black mage. I like that it's druid instead of cleric. That fits a lot better. That's really cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
This card's messed up.
Double end steps.
Yeah.
As a treat.
Yeah, it's as messed up as a 6-mana creature without an ETB can be, but very cool commander, very cool build around. You could do some wacky stuff, and just being a Conjurer's Closet on a creature is already kind of exciting.
And then that's going to happen twice the first time.
Yeah.
So you get to blink a creature and have it re-enter, and then blink it again. And any other end step abilities. Maybe you also have a Conjurer's Closet. Then you just get to go off. Yeah, that's very cool. Now, the Final Fantasy 14 Commander deck We have another Ishtola, because Ishtola is in charge of that deck. And I don't recall what specific name we have.
Y'shtola.
Blessed.
Oh, there we go. Knight's Blessed. So I assume this is later.
Yeah.
Y'shtola seems older and is now a warlock and has a much cooler dress. 1 white, blue, black for a 2/4 cat warlock with vigilance. At the beginning of each end step, if a player lost 4 or more life this turn, you draw a card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, Y'shtola deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life.
Rad. This is the one that I ordered.
Nice.
Is that dress the same dress that the woman from 10 that has...
Oh,
No.
Does
Lulu?
she have like a mogul keychain
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Lulu uses Lulu's weapons in that game for whatever reason are like dolls. Like she has like a Moogle or a Cactuar or like a bomb or whatever. And
Right.
when she attacks, she like sets it down on the ground and it goes like meow, and like runs off and hits the enemy.
Okay,
It's-
but that's not like a black... She's not a black mage?
She is actually.
okay.
Lulu is the black mage. I don't. It's a similar dress, but this dress has no belts, whereas Lulu's dress is mostly belts.
It is a
Yeah.
Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
So they-
belts and zippers.
One of the great things that I like about Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy 14, because there's so much equipment, is they keep a good like visual style across all of the jobs. So like a lot of the Black Mage stuff has elements, but they're so creative with how it goes. So a good call. Noticing that's
So
got
there's
elements of
like
that.
a visual indicator, but not necessarily like every black mage wears this. Like they're
Yes.
not like a
Yeah.
maester from
Yep.
Games of Thrones.
Correct. And they do it that way for a quick visual reference while you're 24 people deep into a boss and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to resolving this card. Well, I guess not this card because this is from the Commander decks. But I was going to say maybe other Y'shtola on Arena, and just because it's a cat, Arena's going to make the noise. It's just any cat makes that noise.
If they actually got some voice lines or some of the voice actors to do some of the stuff for custom cards in Arena, I'm not saying this happens.
That would be
I don't
cool.
know. That would rule so hard.
That would be interesting.
And expensive.
Yeah, so
Yep.
far they've only ever done voice lines with planeswalkers, and planeswalkers don't exist in the universes beyond products.
And a lot of those voices are basically just, "Yep, you're going down."
Yeah. I'd
What if you
still
had to
be
change
excited.
your
I
fate?
understand this is a huge pie in the sky, but man, that would be tight.
That would be cool. I want to talk about some of the other ways that they're representing game mechanics from the Final Fantasy games in Magic card form. So let's take a look at Fire Magic. The card Fire Magic, featuring Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. So it's a tiered spell, which is, they say it's a new mechanic, but it's very similar to mechanics we've seen before. It's a single red mana for fire, which deals 1 damage to each creature. But you can put an additional 2 generic into it for Fyra to deal 2 damage to each creature, or put an additional 5 mana into it to cast Fyraga that deals 3 damage to each creature.
These names. Oh. The Blizzard one is my favorite one. I forget what it's.
It should be
Ice-
Blizzard, Blizzara, Blizzaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's called Ice Magic.
Yes, I love Blizzaga.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Tiered's kind of cool.
Yeah. Ice Magic is 1 and a blue, and then the additional costs are 0 to return a creature to its owner's hand, additional 2 to put target creature on top or bottom of its owner's library, and then 5 and a blue. So that's a total of 6 blue for target creature's owner shuffles it into their library.
I like this.
Yeah.
Maybe not this individual
Lulu.
card.
There's
but
Lulu.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool way of, every mechanic is kicker, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
It is a cool way of having this type of spell, but the kicker cost is it's just an evolution of that spell, whereas sometimes you'll see that on kicker of like very straightforward designs of creature gets +2/+2, you pay the kicker, they get +5/+5 instead.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those are cool because early game I spend less mana to get an effect that I may need to save a creature, and then for a bigger cost it could be like, now I can actually threaten to end the game or kill your creature in blocking. But when it's a pretty straightforward step 1 to step 2.
Yeah.
They kind of moved away from that. They still do it a bit when they do kicker or kicker adjacent mechanics, where it's like, hey, you can either spend a small amount of mana and get a thing, or a large amount of mana and get a bigger version of that thing. But having a 3-tiered system where all of these abilities, especially for this one, like bouncing a creature, tucking a creature, and then chaos warping or oblationing a creature, is like, those are all different things, and they play out differently in Magic the Gathering, but you get the feeling of evolution, right? You get this escalating, like, this is how blue deals with creatures, and the more mana you spend, the stronger the effect. And you could spend obviously paying 2 to just bounce a creature is not ideal, but if you need to do it, you can do it.
Yeah. I'm surprised this one didn't do anything with stun counters. But I mean, in Final Fantasy, functionally, ice magic just hurts people. Yeah. It doesn't it doesn't necessarily freeze them or slow them down. It hurts them, and if they're weak to ice, it hurts them more.
Yeah, there's a thing. This is a trend with sets like this, like Universes Beyond, where you have a player base that is very enthused, and maybe coming into this with a lot of explanations for like why cards are the way they are, and a lot of them resonate on a thematic level, especially with like named characters, legends, key characters, and they do that with spells as well, but at the end of the day, it is still Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Like, you talked about Tifa being Italian. Like, Tifa could be Italian for the reason of we just needed a Naya commander.
I mean, that's the thing, is that she's the secondary commander in the Final Fantasy VII deck, and they decided to make that one Naya for mechanics of the deck.
Right.
It's not like they specifically chose to make Tifa those colors.
Or it's like, why is she a monk? And it could be, because she's not a fighter, but like a D&D style monk, just fists and feet.
Combos and things like that.
Shouldn't have said feet. Yeah, exactly, that kind of aspect. But also, like, I don't know, because we don't have a Naya monk commander, and we have a lot of Naya monks.
Yeah.
Or like, that is a design space that they haven't touched, and they could just get it done here, and they're like, yeah, it makes enough sense.
Yeah.
So 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, and I've written for video games and done design and things like that. What they're able to do with the limitations that they have, because it is a Magic the Gathering set, and they have design choices they have to make, it really does feel like, as somebody who is a slavering Final Fantasy fan, they do their best to make sure that it is flavorful as possible, while still it's the elegance of operating within the design space that they have, while still honoring the lore that they're bringing into the game.
Yeah, it makes sense why players would, fans of these series, or also just people that don't want anything to do with the series. It makes sense as to why the feature of these cards that they are most drawn to are artwork, or card name, or subtype or whatever, right? That's when people poo-poo stuff, they're talking about like, that's literally the Titanic. Like my great grandmother like died on that ship, and now I'm losing to it in a game of Commander or whatever, right? Like, that's an experience that somebody may have had, and they take umbrage with that. That's this boat in there, but like but realistically, it's about the gameplay. I know Magic's more than just the text on the cards, but a lot of the times, like, you're just trying to service gameplay. You want the game to be fun, and it's if this is what they're doing, then that sounds like a pretty good path to be on for this kind of set.
Speaking of reflecting things from the games in Magic mechanics, I'd like to take a look at a summon. Summon Primal Odin. This is a great way of handling this, I think, because the summons in the game, they're a powerful creature. You summon them, they stick around for a while, and then they leave. And so they're representing it here with Saga creatures. So Primal Odin is a 5/3 Saga Knight. Chapter 1, Gungir, which is the lance. Destroy a creature an opponent controls. So 6 mana, you play Odin and just destroy a creature they control. Next turn, Zantetsuken. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
Oh,
That's the Silver Sword, which just kills. That's an ability in the game which, if it hits, it just kills the creature. It doesn't always hit, is the thing. And then the third chapter, Hall of Sorrow, draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. So Odin only gets to attack once because it's only 3 chapters, right? But again, using existing Magic mechanics to reflect the in-game, the way that these operate in Final Fantasy, I think this is incredibly clever and clean.
oh, that is so elegant. That is so freaking cool.
So this is like the best that they've done of this effect.
Yeah.
Like this is the most exciting. It has lose the game written on it.
Yep.
It kills the something on ETB. And then when it dies, you just get to cash in for some extra cards and maybe dome somebody out.
Yeah.
Showing up, doing something, hitting them once, and then, dissipating. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Pretty terrible to play with a lot of the time, right? Like, it is neat that there's a story being told here.
Yeah.
And that some of these sagas have a pretty impactful ETB, right? The when they come into play, they do something and you feel okay for that, right? It does kind of stink. At least, I don't know. I look at some of these cards and I'm like, I kind of just want to play with this for longer, Like, I get that it's thematic and that some of these are really cool on hit, and it's a certified POG moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one is dope. This one I'm like incredibly into, and there are some other ones that have popped up. But also running back to the conversation point I had before, where it's like, okay, but what about the gameplay? Like the flavor's cool, the artwork is cool. But like, assuming I don't know anything about Final Fantasy, like I'm just completely neutral on it. How does this play as a Magic the Gathering card? And this one, great. A lot of the other ones that we've seen so far are just like, okay, my thing goes away. Players don't like it when their things die. Yeah. Players don't. This is going to be interesting. Players do not like it when their creatures die. Right? It's the whole. It's just. I mean,
I definitely think that we're going to experience with ones like this. It's going to be like, wait, I only get to attack with it once?
Yes, exactly. They see that as that's going to be a downside, and especially this is going to sound like I'm an old man. Newer players are not used to downsides. They legitimately just have not experienced it, and we know that they try to avoid that because if a player feels bad during a game, that may be the last time they play that game. And so that is no longer an aspect of Magic the Gathering. And sagas have that aspect of like, you get this effect and they go away. But I'm curious to see how that works in people's brains compared to I get a creature. Like, I play this, I kill a thing, you block my 5/3, and then I'm just sitting there with my ass out there. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, okay. It's just not the most satisfying thing in the world.
So, but what if
Yeah.
the summon was intrinsically linked to a human creature, as in Final Fantasy 16? James, could we take a look at...
Wait, 16?
Yeah.
Can we take a look at Check's notes?
Yeah, buddy.
Jill?
Okay, but hold on. Wait.
What?
I thought 14 was the current one.
No, 14 is still very played.
Yes.
But there have been 15 and 16 since then.
Oh, because 14's the
14's
MMO.
the MMO.
Is one of the two
MMOs.
MMOs.
Okay, which one's the guy who's going to kill Chaos?
That, mercifully, that is not one of these games.
Oh.
That one is like a precursor to Final Fantasy 1, and it's called like...
A Stranger of Paradise.
Stranger of Paradise.
What was the Phoenix Reborn one? Or Phoenix...
16.
That's 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one with Clive, who was voiced by Ben Starr, who hosted the panel. And they... Okay. Yeah, let's take... So Jill, Shiva's dominant.
Whoa.
Jill looks very cool.
Oh, it's art.
2 and a blue for a 2/2 human noble warrior. When Jill enters, return up to one other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So, literally, Man of War.
Better Man of War.
2/2 for 2 and a blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. It hits non-land permanents. But in Final Fantasy 16, the various characters embody the summon creatures. If you're not a Final Fantasy player, every game is unrelated and different, and you can jump in anywhere, and it doesn't matter. The plots are unconnected. The characters are totally different. They share thematic and mechanical stuff some of the time, but mostly it's just like a lot of the enemies and summons will be the same, so that you can go, oh, hey, look, oh, cool, look who it is. So Shiva, for example, is a summon that's shown up in a bunch of different games. In 16, they're like linked to this person. So in this case, with Jill, 3 blue and tap, exile Jill, return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. So you blink, and then Jill comes back as Shiva, Warden of Ice. 4/5 with Mesmerize. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. And then Mesmerize again. And then Cold Snap. Tap all lands your opponent controls, exile Shiva, and then return to the battlefield as Jill.
That's so cool.
I have several questions.
Please.
And some comments.
Yeah.
One, the other saga creature mentioned Odin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this mentions Shiva.
Yeah.
Is this the Hindu Shiva? That didn't look like the Hindu god that would destroy or creator Shiva, but
That's the name they've used.
forever.
Yep.
All right, just checking.
She's been Shiva. She's looked like that basically since one of the Pixel games. I don't remember exactly which game the summons first appeared in.
This definitely sounds like a Japanese game from the 80s and or 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
The summons are from everywhere.
Right.
There's Ifrit and
Gilgamesh.
and Bahamut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is individually I really like this card.
Yeah.
I think it's very. God bless them for letting you return your own cards. They stopped doing that on all of these Mana Wars because of Arena, and the people might misclick and bounce their own creature, and that feels bad. It's like, okay, buy a bigger phone, bud. just like maybe you don't play on the John, right? Like, I don't know. There's just that's an aspect of design that I get, that game design, even when it's a card game, you have to factor in how people like play the game.
Yeah.
Like how they physically play the game. But also get a bigger phone, bud. So glad to see that this can return your own cards, including your own saga creatures, which I imagine is a feature of this.
Yeah, you could bounce your own Odin and then replay it.
Yep. I love this like temporary, she turns into the embodiment of Shiva or whatever, and then comes back. This deals with the feel bads associated with losing your enchantment creature. It feels like as somebody again doesn't know anything about the game, I can look at the two sides of this coin and be like, oh, she must be important to this thing, or this thing must be important to her. Cool. Right? Like the story is all contained in one card, which the other summon, like, it's weird to say because sagas in Magic are stories and you can kind of pick up what's going on. I don't know. That's just a guy. Like, if I don't know anything about Final Fantasy, the Odin card is just a guy. Why is this guy a saga? But this tells me, like, I get a better understanding of why this card is a saga. And then also it's only a saga for a bit and then turns back. That's cool to me. And then also just like this flip side feels very like powerful, but also temporarily powerful, Yeah. This one's dope. This is like an A+ for me.
I love the border.
Also, the artwork is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The art on all of these has been banger.
I do. Sagas have incredible artwork, basically every single one.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and it
Yeah.
lets the artists really go outside the borders of what normal Magic card art can allow for. Like you have people making actual factual tapestries, and that is the artwork. But the thing is, the thing about Saga is that you don't get to see as much of it as you would like. Like the art really suffers from that. And the enchantment creature, the Saga creatures are like maybe the biggest offender of that I've ever seen, of just a little square there for the artwork, which is a shame, but you know.
Now, if I had to level a criticism at the set as a whole based on what we've seen so far, it's that we had Jill there, which is a templating of a double-faced card where you exile the card and then return it transformed, meaning Shiva can't attack that turn because Shiva's got summoning sickness. And then similarly, you exile Shiva and return it as Jill. So you get the enter the battlefield trigger of Jill, but again, Jill can't attack. Whereas there are other cards in the set that just transform, meaning they don't leave the battlefield.
Okay.
And having both of those in the same thing, in the same set, I think is confusing.
That are not Sagas?
Yeah, so let's take a look at, from the main set here, Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier. Sephiroth is, looking amazing. Yeah, big sword. 2 and a black for a 3/3 human avatar soldier. When Sephiroth enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature if you do draw a card. And then whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So, aristocrats. If this is the 4th time this ability has resolved this turn, so if Sephiroth has killed 4 other creatures, I guess. It doesn't have to be to Sephiroth's first ability. I was talking about it from flavorful reasons there. If it's the 4th time that ability is resolved, you transform Sephiroth into, can you guess? Yes, Sephiroth, 1 winged angel, a 5/5 flyer with the ability Supernova. As this creature transforms into Sephiroth, 1 winged angel, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of creatures if you do draw that many cards.
He's got more than 1 wing there.
I knew that was I'm
just saying. Like I know about the 1 winged angel, but you know, he's got more than 1 wing there. Come on, man. This card absolutely rips.
Yeah, this card's amazing.
It's so good.
Before we talk about the card, though, do you see what I mean about how, like, this one, you can trigger the transformability and transform it and then attack immediately. And the sagas, like Jill and Clive, can't believe the characters named Jill and Clive in a Final Fantasy game. Those ones, you exile and return them transformed.
I mean, not to say that we've done this before, but we have done this before, and it had
I
March
thought
of the
they kept them.
Machine.
No, March kept them separate.
Well, here's the thing: is that the creatures that transformed into sagas by exiling themselves were all at Mythic, right? The Praetors,
Right.
Whereas the creatures that you could just transform them without them exiling were even found at Common.
Right.
So,
okay. I forgot that we had done this before.
Yeah. Okay. It is a little odd to do. I mean, I guess they're doing both for the sake of capturing the flavor and some mechanical aspect of it. But also it is a little weird to be doing both in a set where, on one hand, it feels like this is definitely a set that is toned down for players that are new to the game, right? That are getting introduced to, or that are coming back to the game after a long period of time. Because that's a part of why these exist, is because they make a bajillion dollars because they get a bunch of new people buying the game, right? And so naturally you're going to want to make it at least toned down so that they understand how the cards work, or they can like get into it. But then there's also just so many, like the saga creatures are super complicated and awkward at times. And like you say, there are like competing transform mechanics that people will get mixed up. It's an odd combination of cards, but maybe it's also worth noting that both this and Jill were, and I think even Odin, and maybe even some of the other saga creatures, like a majority, they're all rare or mythic. Yeah.
It's wild to me, even though like I've been playing Magic pretty steady now for the past like 2.5 years or so, like on Arena and here with Loading Ready Run and stuff. It is still wild to me when I hear folks be like, "Oh yeah, these cards are toned down. Like they're less powerful." Because like I stopped at like Mirage like back in the day, and this is like some of the power levels and stuff of some of these things, and like the turn 2 or turn 3 combos or even turn 1 combos that I've seen are just. I wouldn't even know how to play a game to counter that.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
You don't.
I got some other ones to talk about, but first of all, Jacob, what's something from, because I know that you're huge on 14.
Yeah.
What's something from 14 that you're hoping to see that might have been spoiled so far? Because Jacob doesn't know really what's been spoiled.
I would hope to see anything having to do with the Red Mage. That would be lovely. Any of the scions, so like any of the characters that are around the Warrior of Light. Anything that mentions a Realm Reborn.
Oh, there's literally a card called A Realm Reborn.
Huh?
Yeah.
What? Oh! Sorry. Oh, mic levels. Whoa! Oh my God!
So, yeah.
Holy!
What?
Sorry, I'm trying to be good.
It's okay. For those keeping score at home, what is the significance of A Realm Reborn?
So
I love this story.
Final Fantasy XIV, when it first came out, was not great as an MMO. And then they, in-game, storyline-wise, destroyed the world, took 2.5 years to redevelop the game, and then made Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. They literally just restarted the whole thing chronologically in storyline to make it better and more playable, and now it is one of the best, if not the best, MMO on the market today.
They did the very Japanese company thing of like with complete with deep bows, being like,
We apologize.
We're sorry. We screwed this up. Please let us try to fix it. We'll,
We're going to fix it.
yeah, please allow us this time that we need. And then they took it away, and
And they did.
they fixed it.
Scholar of the first sin.
Yeah, exactly.
No Clip on YouTube has a really great documentary about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is so cool because that's the head of the Three Nations in A Realm Reborn, fighting Garlemald, the evil empire. It is the beginning of the 7th Astral Era. Awesome. Other permanents you control have add one. Good Lord, that's a ramp. It's expensive.
It's all your creatures. Is this card good, Wheeler?
No, but
Okay,
God,
cool.
it feels great to watch. I mean, it isn't, but it also, like, this is a commander-only card, unless there's some kind of combo enabled by this, but also it's a 6-mana shaman. But because of commander, everything is good in commander, Graham.
Yep.
There's no such thing as a bad card for commander. And I don't know. I like as I'm not trying to be down on Final Fantasy. That's just legitimately was not the thing that I participated in. But I love watching people, as long as it's not some crap like Fallout. I love watching people get excited about this. It's literally, and this isn't to sound like I've been infantilizing people or that I'm trying to be condescending, but it is like watching kids open it's like being a parent watching kids open Christmas gifts, where it's just like in my head I'm like, dude, that costs like $14. And then they're like, oh, this changes my life. This changes my life. This is everything I wanted. It's like, oh, thank God I got it right. It's kind of nice to watch. It's like, yeah, get excited. It's fun.
Can you tell me about Xenos Yegalvis?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
It's pronounced Iglesias.
Enrique Yegalvis.
He's
Xenos, there he is.
So he's like my first friend. What the that is so good. So he is the main antagonist. He's introduced in Stormblood and then goes through a couple of expansions. So this guy's with you for years. And he's the like trope of, I'm too powerful and there's nobody worth fighting. Oh, you are. You can challenge me. You're my friend. And he, essentially his entire existence, like he'll kill gods.
No.
to fight you.
Neat.
Like, he's like, oh, no, you need to get out of the way. No, this is my friend. Go. No. Hey, you and me, let's kill each other. That makes me happy. Like, yeah, and he eventually, spoilers, eats a big crystal and flies to the end of the universe to save you and then fight you and then dies.
So
and it's great.
3 black for a 4/4 human noble warrior with the ability My First Friend. When Xenos Galvus enters, choose a creature an opponent controls. Until end of turn, creatures other than Xenos Galvus and the chosen creature get -2/-2.
It's so good.
So he's like, you and me and everyone else dies. When the chosen creature leaves the battlefield, so when the friend leaves the battlefield, he transforms into Shinryu Transcendent Rival, an 8/8 flying dragon. As this creature transforms into Shinryu, choose an opponent. Burning Chains. When the chosen player loses the game, you win the game. So this is in the main set. In 1v1, that happens anyway. But in a commander game, you basically go, you and me, and then if that player loses, then you win. Which is very funny, because it's like, no, we're on the same side now. Because now your opponents don't want to kill that person either. So even if the player that you choose does not want to have to work with you, they have to work with you now.
Yeah.
Is
this a good card mechanically?
Well, I think this card is exciting. It's very fun for multiplayer. For 1v1, it does have like use, right? It hits play, kills all the small creatures, says like you're the only, but you're big enough. You get it. So let's get rid of all this, chaff.
Yeah. Let's you and me go.
You and me are fighting. And then when that fight, whatever you've selected dies, then you get something huge. I did see, I don't know why I've become a big Final Fantasy defender mechanically, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a well-established hater, and I just seeing people that are haters without any kind of skill for it. Right? They're just blindly throwing it out. Just, no, this is an art form. And they're like people that are like, I hate seeing multiplayer mechanics in 1v1 Magic. It's like, for starters, that's been around since the beginning of the game.
Yep.
And second, like, James, if we can get the flip side of this, because the friend side does work in 1v1 pretty, like, cleanly. Then the flip side, it's, the whole, when the chosen player loses the game, you win the game. And it's like, what is that? That doesn't do anything in 1v1. Like that, of course they do. It's like, yeah, who cares? That's the insult to the injury. You have an 8/8 flying dragon. Like, what? That's cool.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's just like, oh, by the way, if I kill you, you're dead. And like, that's dope. That's, that's, who cares if it's just flavor text in 1v1? It still works. It's clean. And then in multiplayer, I can safely say, as a member of the Commander format panel, this card is not getting pre-banned. There has been discourse.
Really?
Discourse. I don't know. It's not even really worth mentioning. I do it because it's so stupid. It's funny. But there was another card called Ramses. It's like Assassin Lord or whatever from a previous
Assassin's Creed set?
No, this was from Dominaria United. The Legends Retold. It was a legendary assassin that said basically that, of like, when an opponent dies, when a player loses the game, if they lost the game because Ramsey killed them or whatever, you win the game. So it's a way of saying, like, if my commander kills one person, and he's the one that gets the job done, then I win the game. And there were series of complaints from the biggest of gulps, where they're like, this is just, this is going to make collusion rampant, which, sorry to say, it already was, but, a lot of complaints about that. And it popped up again when Assassin's Creed came out, because people were like, oh, this is the Assassin's Lord. Like, hold on. We haven't talked about this in a while. Let's bring this up again. And then when this card came out, they're like, is collusion going to be an issue with this? And it's like, well,
when does it change from collusion to politics? In a game of Commander.
Why you shouldn't run CDH tournaments.
Okay, we've already talked for more than I thought we were going to, but I want to round us out with saying, I effing called it. and I hope I called it on an episode of this show because I certainly said it out loud somewhere. I can't remember where exactly I called it, but they did it, and I'm so excited that they did it. Someone was like, "What do you want to see in the Final Fantasy set? Like, what's like a fun thing that you want to see?"
Yeah.
And I was saying that in the way that they did the Nazgul in Lord of the Rings was really cool, where it's one card, it's mechanically the same card, but they printed it with 9 different pieces of art for each of the ring wraiths. And I was like, what I want to see is them do that in the Final Fantasy set with Cid. And that's what they did.
Oh, no.
There are 15 different arts of Cid, Timeless Artificer, who is 2 white, blue for a 4/4 human artificer. Artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer in your graveyard. A deck can have any number of cards named Cid, Timeless Artificer, and he's got cycling for white and a blue. For those who are unfamiliar, these are not the same person. This is not a multiverse thing. This is not the TVA collecting variants. It's just that in every Final Fantasy game, there's a guy named Cid. They started it in the second one. I don't know why, but someone's named Cid. There's just a guy.
Is he always filling, or are they always filling a role of like a blacksmith or like an upgrade?
Not always.
Not always.
Oh.
So this is some of these.
I know that
usually.
guy. I've seen
Some
that
of them
guy.
fit this really well. Some of them are like, we'll give it to you because his name's Cid. Like this guy's a bad guy.
Oh,
The guy in 12 is like a real piece of crap. But turns out that remember him? You probably don't because his daughter was featured much more heavily.
yeah. Okay, so that's one of the few characters that I know from a Final Fantasy game. Is she's the mechanic, right?
Cindy.
Cindy.
Sydney. No,
Yeah.
Sydney.
In like the early marketing, they were like, check it out. Sid's a girl now, and she's wearing a bikini. And people were like, I mean, I'm into that, obviously, because I'm a Final Fantasy player, but is that's Cid? That's weird. And then the game came out, and it's like, no, it's not Cid.
Cid, yeah.
Cid is this guy. That's his daughter. You don't really interact with Cid that often.
Okay.
It was weird. But yeah, I love that they did this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I do have one question. I don't
Yeah.
know how much time we actually have. Any special lands? Were there special lands previewed?
Oh, yes, there were. I mentioned one at the top of the show. There's a cycle of 5 lands of special places across the franchise that have adventures. The lands have adventures. So let's take a look at Zanarkand, Ancient Metropolis. This is from Final Fantasy X. It enters tapped. It taps for a green. That's cool, but it has an adventure. They've never done adventures on lands before. Lasting Faith for 4 green. Create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. It says named Tidus really small here. Plus, you put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. So you make a big guy, and then the land goes to the adventure zone, and then you can play the land. That can be your land drop for the turn.
I look
after you cast
forward
the adventure.
to including these in every commander deck for the rest of eternity.
I mean, there's no downside to it, is there?
Well, they do come into play tapped.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
that's who cares. Your land also casts a spell. It is very weird that they're not legendary to me. Like
Yeah.
I get why, in the sense that they really don't like making legendary lands.
Actually, one more for you, Jacob.
Yeah, me too.
From the white one from this cycle is Ishgard, the Holy Sea. With the adventure Faith and Grief for 3 white, return up to 2 target artifact and or enchantment cards from your graveyard to your hand.
Oh, that is cool.
It's the 3rd card with an ampersand in the name.
Oh,
That's where my house is.
your house is in Ishgard?
You live in Grief?
I mean, that's more of a personal issue.
What are you, Legacy last year? No, just kidding.
And actually, I tell you what, let's round off with a Final Fantasy 1 card. Starting Town. You'll notice these all have the subtype Town. The Town is a new subtype for this. This land enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game.
Oh, the bridge.
Taps for a colorless, and then you can pay 1 to add 1 mana of any
This
color.
card is messed up. It is so good.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a multicolored fast land that turn 3 as well.
Turn 1, 2, or 3, it enters untapped.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other ones can be turn 3 as well, but like though if you ramp in growth or whatever, like you don't feel like a Dumbo. Yeah. Wow. These cards, especially because these are in standard, we just got a 3-color set.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? With fast lands. Fast lands are in standard.
Yeah.
This land's so good. Oh my god.
Well, there you go.
I have to collect all of these lands.
There's so many more cards. Obviously, there's more cards that they even revealed that we didn't talk about. There's so many more cards yet to come. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy for a while. So settle in. We're happy to be here, or some of us are anyway.
I'm happy to be here.
No, I know. It's great to be here, and I heard.
Well, thank you for having me.
I want to remind everyone real quick to check out cardkingdom.com/LRR to buy your Magic cards or sell your Magic cards or just interact with them in a commercial way. That helps us out. Dragon Shield, use the code LRRMTG5 to get yourself a discount. And of course, this show and everything that we do is brought to you by your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun or by becoming a member of this YouTube channel. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Wheeler.
I have what's this guy's name?
It's a goblin.
So I
a goblin.
I have Sid Goblin on my lap.
Yep.
Sid Goblin. And Jacob.
I have a catchphrase.
James has been on Tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.